Marcus Aurelius is the man Stoicism had been waiting for and talking about all those years. From a young age, his adoptive father Antoninus Pius got him the best Stoic teachers he could find to prepare him for becoming the next Roman emperor. But instead of choosing politicians and other officials to educate Marcus, Antoninus chose a different route. He chose the path of Stoicism and asked the Stoic philosopher Junius Rusticus to educate this young boy. This simple move would one day create a Stoic so mentally strong, earning him the title ruler of the world. Stoicism believes that the wise man fears only one thing, abandoning his moral responsibility. He is not afraid of pain, death, poverty, or any of the other things that common people fear. He fears only that he should let himself down, and that he should be less than a complete human being. Philosopher Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful Stoic of all time, and he is famous for his book, Meditations. The idea of being a great man is a bit unclear, but there is perhaps no single person in history who has ever been more deserving of that title. This is not a self-help video, I can promise you that, but the philosophy Marcus created can be an antidote to so many problems we face in our lives today. I will show you why. By the way, for more information on Marcus Aurelius's philosophy, subscribe to our daily newsletter in the description. Thank you. Marcus Aurelius was the last one of the 5 good emperors and served from 161 AD to 180 AD. He reigned in a period known as Pax Romana, or Roman peace. In fact, when he died, Roman peace ended. Marcus Aurelius was effectively the ruler of the world, and he could have anything he wanted. The life of a Roman emperor was basically synonymous with hedonism. Previous Roman emperors indulged in money, sex, wine, and watched sadistic games at the Colosseum. No one and nothing would stop Marcus Aurelius from realizing his wildest desires. But Marcus was a beast of self-discipline and moderation. Even in those limitless circumstances, Aurelius chose a life of virtue. He chose to be a good man, and not just in one instant or on one occasion, but every day for all 19 years of his time as emperor. Being good doesn't make you a great person, but imagine staring down unlimited fantasies and saying to yourself, fuck all that, I choose virtue. Not for the sake of praise, fame, or admiration, but just for the sake of being good. That is impressive. I mean, could you consistently, day in and day out, overcome the monster of temptation for 20 years straight like Marcus did, knowing that there would be no consequences whatsoever? I probably couldn't resist. What's really crazy is that Marcus Aurelius wasn't pretending to be a good person, because when no one was looking, that's when Marcus was at his best. Meditations is a book written by Marcus Aurelius for Marcus Aurelius. It's not really a book, it was his personal journal. This journal is basically showing how Marcus navigated his way through life. It has no real structure aside from being vaguely divided into 12 parts, and it's only about 150 pages. Marcus kept these notes to himself and never intended them to be read, much less published, by any person at any point in time. These were his deepest thoughts and beliefs. With that in mind, his journal reveals his true character, because again, Aurelius wasn't writing this for anyone but himself. But despite that, there is a good reason we still read Meditations 2,000 years later. It's one of the most powerful books ever to appear. In this video, we're going to cover what I think are the most transformative lessons worth knowing from that book. Marcus Aurelius believed in living in accordance with nature. By nature, Aurelius was referring to the natural order of the universe. Trees grow because that's what they're made to do, not because they want praise or are looking for some external validation. That is the natural order. A caterpillar becomes a butterfly and a featherless chick becomes an eagle, not because they want to, but because they are created to do exactly that. In the same way, Marcus believed that the duty of a human was to fulfill their potential. He did not believe in accumulating things or riches, and we'll talk about that later, or being awarded and worshipped. Nature made you a human, and it is your duty, while you're alive, to be the kindest, most virtuous human that you can possibly be. For Marcus, this is the pinnacle of human achievement. Not fulfilling your potential was, according to all the Stoics, the darkest place you could find yourself into. After all, you can't control anything else. You can't control what the world throws your way. But you can control how you react. The Stoics literally said, we don't care what happens to you, just how you react to it. And no matter what happens, a great person faces the storm and comes out of it stronger. This is what living in accordance with your nature really means. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor, and although he may enjoyed writing all day, That wasn't his job. Throw away the books of philosophy and get to work, he reminded himself from time to time. He had to deal with a lot of things and a lot of people. Above all else, Marcus believed that evil people were simply part of our universe. Asking the world not to present you with these people would be like asking for a cat without claws. Don't be ridiculous, there's simply nothing you can do. Marcus says that bad people exist, and you encounter them regularly in your life. But for Marcus, this was an opportunity. He saw these people as an opportunity for him to practice virtue and fulfill his purpose. Just as a musician becomes better by playing the harp, so a Stoic improves by practicing virtue. It's that simple. He believed in kindness, though, and that people never wanted to do the wrong thing. Instead, when they actually did the wrong thing, it was simply out of ignorance. You can try to teach these people, sure, but it's just not always going to work. A father can try to teach their child why what they did was bad and use every means available, but the child ultimately decides if they are going to do it again. It's out of the father's control. So how do we protect ourselves against other people's misdeeds? To do this, Marcus says, you should look inward. He writes to himself, "Hey Marcus, you've got faults too. Who are you to judge? Maybe you have different faults than these so-called bad people. But you too have your faults nonetheless. In a different conversation on a different day, perhaps you, Marcus, would be the ignorant one." He told himself, hey, you can't even be sure that they are doing the wrong thing. The thief who steals to feed his family isn't wrong. You just don't understand. And often in life, you won't understand, and you won't know that you don't understand. Unfortunately or fortunately, you won't always have an explanation for why people do what they do. So again, don't judge. Ultimately, Marcus Aurelius believed that we were all born for each other. Over and over, he reminded himself that this is the natural order. A tree grows fruit so animals can eat. Animals die so that worms have food. Just like in the natural world, we are all made to help each other. That is, again, our duty. The only true failure in life would be to abandon this responsibility. We all go through adversity, and Marcus Aurelius was no exception. But just like encountering bad people, Marcus realized that encountering adversity is simply part of the human condition. Again, you can only control what you can control. So don't pray for bad things not to happen. It's as if you want to pretend you are blind when you can clearly see. Those things are going to happen. Don't pretend otherwise. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it, but you can control how you react to them. You can control if you are ready to meet adversity when it comes. And it will, Marcus says. You know that it will. When that day arrives, don't be sad because something bad happened. Don't feel bad for yourself. Don't cry relentlessly like a little coward. Instead, feel fortunate that you have the tools and the spirit to make it through, like a hero fighting a battle. Marcus tells himself, bear these events as a brave man. Go through adversity with courage and come out on the other side. And when you do realize that this supposedly bad thing was not bad at all, it was simply an opportunity to persist, to rise above, to keep going forward. Marcus Aurelius says that when these events come, don't complain, but ask yourself why you can't endure it. Most of the times you'll be too embarrassed to answer. Even death, Marcus says, is not that terrible at all. All men die, but not all men die complaining. Death smiles at us all. All you can do is smile back. Marcus Aurelius was a man of enormous wealth, but he did not believe this was inherently a problem or a blessing. For the Stoics, it was what you did with the wealth you had that made it a problem or a blessing. Marcus did not abuse material possessions like other kings. Instead, he was cautious with his relationship to the things that he owned. He could have anything he wanted: money, houses, art, wine. But he chose not to. He said to himself, Marcus, don't dream of physical things that you want. These are meaningless. They don't fulfill your potential. Only you can do that. Reflect on what you do have and value these things. You can't be grateful and greedy at the same time. Think of how much you'd want these things if you didn't already have them. But be careful, he continues, not to value these things so much that you would be desperate if they just disappeared. They're nice, but they are not truly yours, not even your loved ones. For better or for worse, who knows? Marcus Aurelius spent a lot of his time thinking about death, so much so that it would be impossible to make this video without discussing his opinions on the subject. And his views on death were simple. It's coming, whether you like it or not. He tells himself, time and time again, that it's outside our control. So don't waste your time fearing death or wishing you were immortal. It's like reading fairy tales to yourself to kill some time. Just like nature has assigned us to be good, to help one another, and to reach our fullest potential, nature has assigned us to die. Death is a duty for the Stoic. So while you're here, be good. To Marcus Aurelius and all the Stoics, the concept of happiness was something more than a simple emotion. It was a state of being that came entirely from within. After all, money cannot touch your soul. It's your opinion about money that determines your attitude toward it. The Stoics said that to achieve happiness, you should live a life of virtue. There is no other way to get there, there are no shortcuts. You should continue to better yourself and become all that you possibly can, a complete human being, a friend of God. The only failure, the only true pain, the only true sadness, the only thing worth fearing is to let yourself down by not achieving your potential. Being great is your duty. Being great is in your very nature. Thank you for watching and subscribing to the channel. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe to the video. If not, leave a comment with your feedback to help us improve. Thank you for watching.